I'm guessing you saw the clip from Shedeur Sanders when he did not vocalize, when he pantomimed his behavior. You know, that's what we do on set sometimes when we're acting. And, you know, there are background actors and, you know, there are leading actors. And it's almost interesting. That's kind of interesting to me that even just from how it resonates with acting, Shedeur is playing the background actor. And he's lost his voice. And when he has a voice, he's used to his voice being listened to, if not in the press, at least to his father, where he can express himself in detail. And now, the moment he says something, it's going to start getting more and more scrutinized on a day-to-day basis. He's not used to this. He's not used to competing. He's not used to having to compete. It's different. Competing with the other team is one thing, but competing with your own teammates is something completely different. That's much more inner politics. That's intra. And so he doesn't always necessarily know what the stuff he's saying how it's going to permeate through the inner walls in his organization, because he's accustomed to being able to say what he says, what he wants to say when he's the head of it. I want wholeheartedly for Dillon Gabriel to be successful. I think he's going to be tough spot against the Vikings, but I actually think Dillon Gabriel is the perfect quarterback to play against the Vikings. So for fantasy players, I think he might be a good player to pick up because the Vikings love the blitz. The tricky thing about the Vikings is how they mix up their blitz. But I think Dillon Gabriel is the kind of guy that has the medicine to blitzing, and he gets the ball out fast. That's what you need to do when you're going against a team that likes to blitz. The hard thing is just, you know, figuring out where the blitz is coming from and, you know, keeping your feet in the pocket and doing what you need to do to get a clean pass off. But I think he can get the ball out quickly. Their offense has been struggling to have timing, but the Cleveland Browns have so many weapons. They can use a real number one wide receiver. The Cleveland Browns, that's a team right there that could really use an A.J. Brown. The Cleveland Browns they got like Jerry Jeudy. I think he's a really good number two / you know, number one light, you know, but Harold Fannin, you know, David Ojoku, you know, and, you know, their running game right now is that stable is crazy, you know, and, you know, they got pieces over there. So I think the Browns are due for a really big offensive output in London. I believe the Browns actually want Dillon Gabriel to be successful. I don't think they know how to go about helping him be successful. And, you know, to be real, as I think about it, I honestly feel like the Browns drafted Shedeur Sanders because they were doing Deion a favor. They were doing Deion a favor to try to keep him from going undrafted. I think this kid fucked up really hard in his interviews. He's not used to this shit. What we saw in that clip when he was pantomiming, turning himself into a background actor, is him. I believe that's like this is gonna sound fucked up, but I think that's there's almost like they said something about Caleb being dyslexic. I wouldn't be surprised if there's something there. That's like a dyslexic approach to this work. It's like, why doesn't he understand how unprofessional that is? Maybe he just doesn't mind trolling because he doesn't want to choose to say what the right thing to be is, which is, man, look, I'm going to support Dillon, man. Of course I want to play, but I'm going to support Dillon. You know, when the time comes, I'll be ready. If my time comes, I'll be ready. Because his time ain't going to come if Dillon's balling. Dillon done been successful now. Dillon has dealt with a lot of politics, and he's played on a lot of different teams. I believe Dillon is going to mess around and be successful, and I wouldn't be surprised if that has something to do with another reason to have something to do with why Shedeur is fucking off like this in these interviews. He's probably uncomfortable. He probably sees that there is something about that guy that's going to beat him out, so he's kind of starting to misbehave. I mean, he started this whole thing off with a speeding ticket. Do we even know about that speeding ticket? If this would have happened to him, if he was driving through Colorado while he was a student over there, do we even hear about this? Every one of these rookies that are getting these chances now at quarterback to start for their team, Cam Ward, Dylan Gabriel, Jackson Dart, JJ McCarthy, they all did something right in their process. Dylan Gabriel is the kind of quarterback that could have easily been drafted in the 5th round, 6th round, just based on his height, based on the fact that he wasn't the most popular. He didn't have any real branding coming out of college football, per se. And maybe his branding comes by way of being a mercenary, so to speak, but he moved up from UCF to Oklahoma to Oregon. Did he win the Heisman? Almost won the Heisman. Travis Hunter won the Heisman. About to say, I'm tripping. Dylan Gabriel did not win the Heisman. What am I talking about? He was a finalist. Even in college, voters saw something in Dylan Gabriel that they didn't see in Shedeur Sanders. Because even in college, Shedeur Sanders didn't become a Heisman finalist. So there's a quiet competition going on already between Shedeur and Dylan, but he's showing in these interviews why people aren't trying to trade for him or don't want him right now. The kind of attention he's drawing right now is not really the type of attention a team is looking for to be the leader of their organization, to be speaking for them. Teams have guys like Justin Herbert, model citizen kind of guys, and Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, and these guys are like Jalen Hurts. These guys are like picture perfect citizens for the league, for the shield. And then you got a guy like Shedeur Sanders. He doesn't know how to maneuver. He is very uncomfortable. And what we're seeing from him is his own crash out. He's crashing out on live television, behaving in this manner. He might be someone who is a bit too comfortable being able to have the conversation he needs the way he needs it, the way he's accustomed with his father. And now we're seeing him fend for himself. And this is how he's doing it. He's pantomiming. He's lost his voice. He's becoming a shell of himself. And he is turning himself into a background actor. That's what we're seeing from him. I believe the Cleveland Browns are going to mess around and ball. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cleveland Browns mess around and start winning games here. They're going to start off with the Vikings for Dylan, but then right after that they play the Steelers. They mess around and win that game, that's a division win. And now they're biting at the heels of the Steelers just that fast. Then they got the Dolphins, who I believe the Dolphins might be figuring their way out in just a bit here. But then they got the Patriots, Jets, Ravens. Don't know what the Ravens situation is going to look like. There are going to be some wins here. And I believe guys see what Shedeur did in that interview, and they are ultimately confused by it. That's it. There is no, that's the guy I want to be my quarterback. There is none of that. They're confused by it. They don't know what to say. And then when they talk to him, he's going to have his own reason as to why he said it, and it just becomes some inner dialogue. But he's not comfortable not being able to be considered as starting quarterback. And that's something you earn in the pre-draft process. That's something that Dylan Gabriel clearly earned in that draft process, pre-draft process, in his meetings, the things he was saying. I'm sure the Cleveland Browns were watching his game tape and listening to him talk and were just like, yeah, man, this guy's talented and he's an adult. And I have trust in him going out there and running my offense. I have trust in him going out there on the podium to represent me as a person who picked him. There's a marriage there. And none of these people could see themselves marrying themselves to Shedeur. It trickled on down time and time again. It was, he might be first pick. Okay, he might more so go to the Giants. It's like time and time again, one of these teams were like, not us. And then it was, he might be going to the Raiders. And then he might be going to the Saints. And then, well, you know what, though, after those teams, there's a, small hold there, like 10 teams that don't need a quarterback. But then there's the Steelers. And then some people are saying that, maybe he's going to go to the Steelers. The Steelers clearly need a quarterback, and out of nowhere, Shedeur and them are putting out in PR like, yeah, Mike Tomlin does kind of remind me of my dad. And it was like, the message was clear as day. He kept getting turned down. I believe he was handling his meetings as if he expected to be picked, like his dad was just working out some backroom deal per se, as if there weren't real requirements from him, as if he had no expectations of what was going to come next at this next level. But the guys that have these starting quarterback jobs, Cam Ward, let's talk about just him specifically. He earned it in his play, in his pre-draft process, in his pre-draft meetings. They saw an adult that they said, this guy can be the captain of our current sinking ship. He's going to help us be better, but we're bad. The Titans had to know that their offense wasn't the type of offense that could really compete with Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. Really? Ridley? Really? No. But Cam Ward is the kind of guy that we can put around these guys and we can see which one of these guys are the guys. And then we can start figuring out what we need to do to get the right guys around that guy. We can fail a bit with him because he can represent us. He can speak on the behalf of this organization. But no, you bring Shedeur Sanders in and it's bizarre. It's bizarre. There's almost I don't know if the word is dyslexic or something. There's a miscommunication from understanding professionalism, what is and what is not okay. And because there are so many prime sexuals out there, you guys are disgusting, okay? Disgusting. So many prime sexuals out there. You're going to make it okay because you're going to make an excuse for them and say, that's okay. That's how you communicate. Automatically, Josina Anderson was like, good for him. Get her out of the sport. People have given you this opportunity, and this is what you're giving to the sport. Good for him. That's how you want your son to behave. If your son got pulled over and the officer was trying to speak to him, is that how you would want your son to behave? That's the kind of guy you want to draft, is the kind of guy that can get pulled over and can have a civilized conversation with that officer. Just like having a civilized conversation with the ref when they maybe make a bad call or when, you need them to look at something. This is a hard business, and he's showing his ass. He is crashing out on television in front of everybody. All right, there's no hiding from this. Those prime sexuals out there, y'all got to come to the altar. And y'all got to have a conversation with yourselves. You got to be being honest with yourself right now saying, that is weird. That is not okay. That is not how a starting quarterback should act. But what's going to be craziest is they fuck around and Dillon Gabriel start balling like he balled at UCF, like he balled at Oklahoma, and like he balled at Oregon. One thing you can say about Dillon Gabriel is he knows how to use his strengths. He knows how to deal with some politics. And I don't think Shedeur Sanders can beat him out. Shedeur Sanders wants a situation that he would have had to have earned in the pre-draft process. Your stats are your stats, your resume is your resume. But then the pre-draft process lets people know it's like no more Zoom calls. It's like we're face to face now, and you're gonna get to see how I respond to certain questions that you're gonna ask me that I'm not necessarily comfortable with, or that I didn't expect you to ask me when you're asking me about a play that I had in college, and I respond, and you're interested in the way I respond because you need to know how those next 4 to 5 years are going to go. Like I was talking about with Travis Hunter, you need to know how these next 4 to 5 years are going to go, because these next 4 to 5 years, I might not even be here with you because they might fire me because I drafted you and I never found a way to mend you into this situation and to get you to be ready to lead, or to get you to be understanding that you're actually not the leader. You are actually, second in command, but that other guy's the leader, because they're drafting 7, 8, 9, 10 people, and they got to get all these guys to understand. They also drafted Harold Fannin Jr. Do Harold Fannin Jr. think that he's the leader of this team? I believe the Cleveland Browns drafted him as a favor to Deion just to make sure that he got drafted, just to make sure. But I don't know who wants him. If I look through every team in the NFL, I don't know what team needs his services. The Raiders are one of the only teams that I could think of. But he had his opportunity in the pre-draft process. The Raiders could have drafted Shedeur in the second round. Why didn't they draft him? In my opinion, the Raiders might be the best team for him right now. And really, I wholeheartedly believe the best thing for him is to sit on the bench of Sean McVay's team here in Los Angeles. I think he should be on the Rams, learning behind Matt Stafford. But I also think he's not comfortable sitting right now. I think it's eating away at him that Jackson Dart just got a start at New York, the place that Shedeur really wanted to be. Those random cleats that he had for the BYU game, those New York Giant cleats that he had in his locker, why did we see those? It's like he was signaling to the world and to the NFL what he wanted to have happen, trying to create that, turn that into reality. It's the pre-draft process. People got to meet you and shake your hand and talk to you and maybe try to poke at you a little bit to see what's it going to be like if me and this guy are working together for the next 4 to 5 years, because I want to know if I can keep my family here in this random part of the universe in Carolina. I want to know if I'm going to really be able to keep my family here. Should I really invest in buying a home here, or am I going to be here just a quick stop? Am I just going to be a quick offensive coordinator here, or what are the vibes going to be like here with this guy here? I think like there's something off about this young man. Off. And because of prime sexuals out there lurking, we may never get the truth. As soon as he gets out of the game, or as soon as he does or doesn't get traded, gets cut or what have you, people are just going to start making excuses for him, as opposed to taking into account that it's okay to assess what you're seeing and what you're not seeing, what he's saying and what he's not saying. It's confusing. It's wild. One season at Colorado, he breaks some season records. Jersey retired. One season, my jersey number gets retired here. I mean, do they have to retire the jersey number altogether because of that one season? Maybe we can do something else for him. Already did something for him, giving him NIL, making like $4 million or something. Something's off about him, and it's clear as day, because somebody would have picked him. These teams need talent. They need a great quarterback. And they chose Dylan in the 3rd round. And respectfully speaking, it would be great to see not only the GM, Adam Berry or Barry, something like that, having made a great decision, having saw something, and it worked for them. It would be great for them to have done that for people like Myles Garrett, who wanted to leave. And yeah, he's making $40 million, but he's also not happy doing it, So it would be great to see them be successful with that pick. And they're just willing to deal with the drama, probably because somebody over there has a relationship with Dion and just said, I'll grab him. I'll pick him up. I'll pick him up. Just make sure he gets drafted. You don't have to come for me. Let's just be real. Tell me y'all don't see it. Tell me you don't see it. If you tell me you don't see it, you're a prime sexual.